Welcome to the Jay and Margot Show.
where we keep it real, raw, and respectful.
We are on episode 29. Welcome to March. Can you believe it? 3 months in. The first quarter is getting ready to end.
Yes, it's going by quick.
Very quickly.
Mhm.
And what have you accomplished? Not saying that to be demeaning but like retrospect, look back and see what you've done the past 2 months. Are you pleased with what you've accomplished in the
Yes.
past 2 months? If not, it's not too late to start today with achieving your goals, setting out a plan, figuring out what it is. Go back and catch our shows from January when we
Yeah.
talked about vision casting and getting your mind right. If you started and fell off, that's okay.
Yes.
You know, I'm in the season of rest.
Mhm.
I want, there's so much I want to do, but if you're in a season of rest, use it as preparation
Yes.
so that when God says move, you can move. When He says go, you can go.
That's right.
And if He says sit and stay, sit and stay. Because not to compare us to dogs, but we love our fur babies. We love our animals. But our dogs listen to us because they know that there's going to be a reward. So when I say to one of my dogs,
That's
sit,
good.
and when I say stay,
Mhm.
they automatically, with the exception of Thor takes a minute and he bows down, he stretches out, but eventually he sits. But they know that because if I listen to Mama go give me a treat.
Yep.
If we listen to God go give us a treat.
That's right.
He gonna reward us for being obedient, for
Yes.
sitting and staying. And it was so hard for me to sit and stay during this season because I'm so used to going. I'm so used to doing. And then I'm telling everybody, come see me, come keep me company. But this is a season where God want me to Himself.
Yep.
And
That's good.
sometimes, and that's the best place to be.
Yes.
When God wants you, that one-on-one time, that
Mhm.
intimate, private time with
Mhm.
God. Look, this ain't even what we supposed to be
Right.
talking about today.
No,
but
but it's good.
sweet Holy
It is
Spirit.
good, yes.
Actually, it is because today's topic is sweet spots versus God spots. So it is like I love it when God do that. It'd be beautiful. Just like how I found my earrings today. So let me give y'all a little back just story to this. We were recording, and this was during the summer last year, wasn't it? Because it wasn't cold outside.
No, there was
no
no
snow
snow
on
yet.
the ground.
Yep.
Like this had to be
Leaves. It was fall. Yep, because leaves were already
so
falling and we were moving
maybe
leaves around.
end of
Yep.
September, October, when we were recording. I lost one of my favorite pair of earrings.
Favorite.
I mean, and I'm like, every time we came back to the studio to record, I'm like looking on the ground. I'm looking outside trying to find these earrings. And I'm just like heartbroken. And so when I pulled up to the studio today, I thought about my earrings and I'm like, I wore my earrings. And I'm looking at the ground and now it's snow, it's ice on the ground and everything. And I'm like, let the ice magnify these earrings. And so we come in and we're sitting here, we're just talking and we're getting ready. And I look down. What was we doing? I like had
Get
to
ready to
get
plug
down.
in the
Oh,
thing
yeah,
here,
plug in the trees.
Yep.
And look, y'all. And then I wasn't even gonna share the story right now, but this was on the ground, and I'm like, screamed.
Yeah, and I thought there was a big old bug or a spider or something like that to come in here.
And I told her, I said, listen, if there would have been a rodent or animal, I would have knocked all this over. It was not gonna be pretty. But so I was like, no, Liz. And she was like, didn't you take it home? And I'm like, man, if I took it home, that was so long ago. Here it is. And so I sat here, and this is why we do the Jay and Margot show, because this is like real life today. We ain't talking about stories from 1961. We talking about today. And so I sat down in the chair and I said, okay, Lord, remind me or lead me to where the other earring is through your spirit. I sat here and the Holy Spirit said, get on the floor. Get on the floor. Now, if y'all know me, no, thank you. But I got down on my hands and knees, and lo and behold,
The other one. Yep.
I'm like, was this a sweet spot or a God spot? Because like, and I set them here just because I don't want to forget them and I don't want to lose them. Like my babies, and then one of them even had got like a little knot in it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna need you or Carolyn to like get this knot out because it slides through the ear. It's just a cute diamond drop dangle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so she said, like less than 30 seconds, she was like, oh, there you go. Yes, and that's how rewarding being in a God spot
Yes.
can be.
And you know what that tells me, because you're asking God. And remember how we would say God
yes.
tells you right away
Yes.
if you're in tune with him.
Yes.
So you need that rest to sit in
Mhm.
his lap, to be in tune with him. So yes.
And I had to sit.
Yes.
And I had to stay.
Yes.
What if I would have been in a rush? And I was like, I get down on my knees.
Mhm.
What?
Right.
Look,
Right.
look, I get. Hang on a second. Stop. Get your real. Let me upset my tea right here.
But I liked what you said about that whole time, you just got to you got to rest,
Yeah.
and we talked about that in the episode too, that sometimes in the rest, that's when you are building yourself up in other ways, whether it be spiritually or educational wise. Because sometimes, I just heard this from my mentors with my t-shirt business. They were talking about that you got to stop, slow down, and take the time to educate yourself on something. And then that is going to propel you, magnify your exponential growth, because you're getting what you need. Instead of being on the struggle bus, and trying to, you keep doing what's not working for you. But that speaks to me about what we're going to get ready to talk about too, about being on the struggle bus.
Sometimes even slowing down is beneficial to you because not only will you be rewarded, but most of you know I started my own nonprofit organization called LIT, L-I-T, Live It Through, for cancer patients and survivors, man, woman, doesn't have to be breast cancer. But as I was preparing for my first board meeting that I had back in January, I was feeling inadequate, you know, and me feeling like, and I don't know if maybe inadequate is the right word, but I just felt like I don't really know this. I don't,
Like
you
that
know, I'm
imposter syndrome.
yes. And so here I am. I'm going to the library to get books on nonprofits, how to set up your nonprofit, which I already did, how to run your meetings, how to do this, what you need. And when I tell you I'm sitting in bed reading these books, it was confirmation.
Yes.
Like I
That's
had
good.
already put together the folders for each one of my board members. I had already given them, I think I gave them like a 3 week or almost I didn't give them a month. So maybe like a 3 week notice of when the meeting was. My agenda was filled out properly.
Nice.
Like everything that I had already done.
Mm-hmm.
Book was just confirmation.
That's good.
So sometimes God wants to show you that yes, you are on the right
That's
track.
right.
You
Yeah.
are on the right path. I have made every crooked path straight for you.
To build your confidence.
Yes.
So you can walk in there.
Yes. And when I tell you the room that I was in last night, I'm getting ready to send Lit's information to one of the biggest corporations in the Tri-County area.
Nice.
And when she said that they are highly involved, she said, we volunteering everything.
Really? Nice.
Wait till I tell you what it is.
Connections.
Because I'm gonna tell you what it is off record because you don't let everybody know what you got going.
It's that collaboration.
The collective consciousness.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Man, when we tell you that we do book studies together, and honestly, that keeps us in a collective consciousness.
Yes.
When you do that, oh, this is good too for today. But the God spots, that's what I told you about being able to talk the word with the opposite sex. That creates one of my sweet spots. Yes, it is.
It's a turn on.
It is. But so we're in this book and we're learning so much about collective consciousness and coming into agreements and stuff, and not being in competition, and minding your own business, honestly, and staying out of other people's. which a lot of us, we could go on because we were
We
just
can.
talking about that, about the government and what it does and all. It goes way far beyond.
It does. It does. And it goes back to us being able to be of one mind,
Mm-hmm.
of one thought, of one word.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we were all of one mind, one word, and one thought, we could do away with poverty.
Oh,
We could do
yes.
away with homelessness.
Totally.
We could do away with
And
lack. Because as my needs are met, your needs are met.
And when we say one mind, one thought, we're not talking about you have to believe what I believe. No,
Mhm.
we're talking about that mutual respect.
An agreement.
Yep, and the understanding, if we come into that, because the way you run your household is still going to be completely different than the way
Yes.
that I run my household.
Mhm.
But because we're respecting each other's choices, we are not withholding anything from anybody.
Mhm.
That's it. It seems like a simple concept,
And it
and
is.
it really is.
It
But
is.
us humans are what complicate the things
Yes.
with this
Because we get
control,
off
this
into greed.
Yep.
We're selfish.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, what about me?
Or my
It's,
thoughts. I'm right.
yep.
Oh, y'all got to line
It's
up
my
with.
way or the
Yep.
highway. Like,
You
no.
said that. Never brings me back.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, Lord.
Let's get into it.
I
Let's get
know,
into
let's get
it.
into it.
I know that, but that was for somebody. That was for us.
Yes.
But when we talk about sweet spots versus God spots, what came to me is that when we're in a sweet spots make us feel good.
Oh, yes.
Think
they
about
do.
your physical sweet
Mhm.
spots.
Now,
Mm.
this topic came up because of one of our accountability conversations
Mhm.
that we were having, and you guys know I'm open, not too open with everything
Mhm.
about when it comes to my dating life,
Mhm.
and I found myself in a situation where it started to get a little physical, not too physical, but physical enough. And I'm very careful about trying to guard my
Mhm.
physical space. And I don't do kissing. I don't do a lot of hugging and touching because I am a very physical person. There's this book called The Five Love Languages. And I don't know have you read that one?
I haven't read it in its entirety, but yeah.
It's a very good book. If you
Mhm.
want to learn about yourself or people in your life, definitely go get it. It's by Gary Chapman. And he talks about there's 5 basic things that make people feel loved. And it could be words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gifts, and I can't remember the last one.
Gifts, touch,
Quality time.
words. Okay, yeah.
That's what it is. And mine is I was literally dead on with quality time and physical touch. And it's kind of weird because I don't like physical touch with strangers. How
Who
people
does?
just, you know how some people are just huggers and they go up and hug
Oh, okay. I get
people,
what you're saying. Okay.
and that's not me.
Mhm.
Even like with my kids, I wasn't raised in a
Okay.
physical
Mhm.
touch family.
Mhm.
And so I have to purposefully do that.
Mhm.
But with a romantic partner or somebody that I want in my space, I'm very physical touchy.
Mhm.
Love it. Can't get enough of it. And quality time. Okay. That's
And
huge
put
for me.
those two together.
Exactly.
You got some baby making activities going
Big
on
time.
in the room. Mhm.
So found myself in a position, hanging out and getting a little comfortable with this person. And some kissing started to happen. And kind of took me a little off guard because one of my spots, like on my body,
Mhm.
spot on my neck. I say I don't want to say too much because if some dude's listening, you ain't
that's
gonna get
true.
me. Okay.
That's true, right.
And he touched that area, and immediately it got me like just like that.
Start the engine up.
Big time. And I was like, whoa, I had to literally push myself back and I'm like, I gotta go.
Mhm.
Because and I'm not ashamed to say it, and he was shocked that I literally said good night and had to leave because I know me.
Mm.
And had I let even just a little bit more carry on, I would have been the one
Mm.
to have crossed the line, to
Mm.
to push forward.
Mm.
Because, when you haven't had something like that in so long, you want it.
You crave it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you're gonna want to push for a little more, and
Mhm, mhm.
do, and
Because that girl wakes up and she be like, "Hey, what time is it?"
right. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You're talking to somebody who loves physical
Mhm.
touch.
Mhm.
And I was actually proud of myself, but I shocked myself
Mhm.
too at the same time. And then I kind of got a little upset because it's like I wanted to start changing my thinking. Like, okay, that collective thinking, like we talking about, if we can understand it and we
Mhm.
just go there, but
Mhm.
this was the accountability talk that we had to have,
Mhm.
to get me back on track. Because, right away we can start making excuses
We can.
for ourselves.
Mhm.
And she had to help me get back to my God spot.
Yes.
Because what my sweet spot, physical sweet spot, is very real. And
Mhm.
there's no shame in that whatsoever.
Mhm.
And when you're sitting back looking at your life, I say this from the bottom of my heart: God created you that way.
Mhm.
Never, don't ever,
Mhm.
ever let anybody put you down if you crave sex, if you crave touching certain areas, or like a certain thing. I have been with people who have tried to shame me.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
and at a time I did feel shameful, but that wasn't of God. That I felt oppressed.
Mhm.
There's always seasons in your life, a right time to do things. And I'm in a season where I can't give into those things because of where God's taking me.
Mhm.
So when I had to push, I'm not saying if you're out here having sex and you're not married, I'm not putting you down or this and that. This has to be your
Between you and
walk, yeah,
God.
between you and God, and you
Mhm.
God alone. And
Mhm.
again, this is not for shame. This is just for us to identify what's my physical spot and a God spot.
Mhm.
So now God gave me that in my physical, and there's no shame behind that. But I have to create boundaries, healthy
Mhm.
boundaries for me, to not fall back
Mhm.
into that vicious cycle of dating guys, getting physical with them, and not working out, and then getting upset that I have to start all over
Yeah.
again and wasting time,
Mhm.
and then you create soul ties the minute
Yeah.
that you, even with kissing. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but with kids kissing and touching, texting,
Oh,
talking
yeah.
on the phone, you
Yeah.
create soul ties. Like,
Mhm.
right, we have a soul tie in our friendship. In business relationships, you create soul ties. There's like a whole
Mhm.
gamut of things we can go
Yes.
here.
Yes.
But with my God spot, that's getting back to the vision
Mhm.
of what do I really want. And she had to be like, okay, really want to be married? We're
I ask her
talking.
that all the time. All the time. And if you don't, that's fine. There is no condemnation in what God is giving you
Exactly.
and where you
And
are
there's no shame.
at all.
Yep. There's a lot of people that we know that live together, and they have a great relationship, but they
Mhm.
both understand that they came out of divorces and financial ruin or
Mhm.
some kind of trauma or this and that, and they know that they don't want to get married
Mhm.
again.
And see, and one of the things that we've learned in the book is that, and I want to say learned, heard in the book is that we make decisions based off of what other people have said,
Mm.
what we've heard their experience was. And so instead of making a decision that's best for you in this moment and in this time, we think, oh, well, that didn't work out for Margaret, so I'm not going to do that. I think about the first time I heard of a married couple not sleeping in the same room. That idea was foreign to
It
me.
was to me too.
Like, have you lost your mind? Like, no, you better get yourself in this bed next to me, sir.
Right, right.
Now that me and my husband are 18 years deep in this marriage, stand.
I need sleep. You snore.
I need my sleep. And now, like, we're in a spot where my husband is under the weather.
Mm.
but he's still getting up going to work. He still want to hold me. He still want to be all over me. But all I can do is cringe every time I hear him cough or sneeze. Because I'm like, ah! So now that's why I got my tea because I feel it in my throat. I'm coughing. I just no. But if we had on work, like I asked her, do you really want to be married? Because y'all don't like what you're doing. Why are you watching a movie without me? You know that's our show we watch together. And then if I ain't in his room in his space, he gonna be in my room in my space. Remember when? Oh, that was like, oh, it was like I being transparent. I know I smothered my husband because I had a lot of grief and trauma that was not healed.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be around my husband all the time, 24/7. Do you hear me? Like when he got home, he wanted to take a nap. And I'm like, why are you taking a nap? I ain't sleep. Don't you want what? But it got to the point as Margot and I would talk, she was like, don't you got things to do? Ain't God told you to do XYZ? How you gonna do XYZ if you always up under him? And I'm like, you're right. So as I started to prepare, like she has pictures. I'm in my office. Like I got to a point where I was like, oh, you taking a nap? Okay, cool. I got things I need to do. So now I'm in my office working, whatever. Got my TV on, I got my music on. Next thing I know, the door opening, he coming downstairs. He's sitting on the couch, and I'm like, because now he want to talk to me. He needs that quality time with me.
That was funny. And then I get the phone call. Man, he's bugging me.
And so now I'm just like, I'm putting my stuff up because I'm like, okay, give my husband the time and the attention that he needs. But it was like, oh my, how the circles or the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Because look, go take your nap. I got something to do. Even if it's to go sit out on the patio and just watch the cars go by, I got something to do, you know. But when you were talking about, that person accidentally finding your sweet spot, sometimes we can prematurely activate sweet spots.
Oh, yes.
That will draw us away from the God spot that we need to be in.
Yes.
And so therefore we need to have those boundaries. We need to have the backbone to be able to say, nope, I need to go home. I'm done. So
yeah. And again, and then the conversation that we had to have after that, and I had to tell him, listen, I'm on this journey for the long haul, and I'm not the one that you're gonna have playtime with.
Yes, and being able to do that will allow you to see where that person really is.
Yes,
if they actually mean what they say,
yes,
or are they just trying to play you? Because he was trying to play her.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and that ended very, very quickly because that's what your boundaries do. Boundaries will frustrate a person who is not in the same, the collective mindset.
Irritate them demons.
That's right. That is so right. So I know that the boundaries that I have for me, they are God-given. And the man that comes along, he's actually going to have very similar boundaries as me without me even having to say anything. And that's how I'm going to know that that's the man for me. So.
And when that happens, don't self-sabotage because you'll find yourself, something wrong with him. Because now you've done such a good job of enforcing your boundaries that you're like, something must be wrong because I haven't had to stop him. I haven't had to tell her no. I haven't had to. But that means this person has boundaries of their own.
Yes.
And they see the value. They see the purpose. What do you call it? Your purpose partner.
Yes. Purpose partner.
Yes. It's going to click. It's going to mesh. You're going to be like,
yep.
Wow. And believe it or not, y'all, we ain't even into the notes of God's spot versus sweet spots.
That's right.
So we coming back next week for part 2.
Yes, yes.
Because this has just been all Holy Spirit. This is just the foundation. Maybe God, not maybe. God said, let's set a foundation.
Yeah.
So that way when we get into it, you'll be able to be like, oh, wow, that's where I went wrong. And again, not to condemn anybody, but we need to be able to self-reflect.
Oh, yes.
I need to be able to see what I did wrong. what could I have done differently
Mm-hmm.
for the outcome that I was expecting?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we only got 5 minutes left.
I know. I was gonna say something, but I kind of feel like that's gonna take us off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At this
Yeah.
point, to even begin to get into the notes, do you need to make a note of what you was going to say so you can remember for next week?
No.
You're going to remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Usually we over. But this time we're a little under, but that's okay. Ain't nobody paying us yet.
Right.
But when they are, or when our money starts coming in, we want to stick to 30 minutes. We can and we will, but this is not bad for usually being over.
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
be sure to join us next week for part 2 of Sweet Spots versus God Spots.
Yes. Have a good night.
Good night.